Hello and welcome to another GML Breakdown. I am your host, Coach Winuvas, one of the leadership team here in GML. And today I'm going to talk to you about the off-season regimen program. It's the other big thing we have in the WFL that I'm also going to implement here in the GML, kind of help stabilize the leagues as far as, or situate the leagues and keep them kind of in the same boat. The off-season regimen program is something I kind of pseudo-theorized. I took a little bit of an idea from another YouTuber whose name is That Franchise Guy. He is a guy that does actual real NFL scouting. He actually works as an NFL scout or NFL scout on YouTube. But he also runs a Madden franchise, and it's a highly realistic Madden franchise. If you are on Xbox or have an Xbox, I would suggest you try it out. But I will say it's got 39 pages of rules. If you think my rule book is long, holy smokes, I've read the thing. It is super detailed, but it tries to emphasize super realistic scenarios. And one of the things they did is they do an off-season program since the time when they made this, training camp really wasn't a thing. And even training camp in Madden right now is still rather limited in what you can do. For example, there is no O-line stuff you can do. That's kind of pointless. O-line are kind of important. So the off-season regimen program is something we came up with a couple of Maddens ago, taking that idea a little bit from That Franchise Guy's Madden League and basically building on some of the things we liked and kind of engineering it to work for ourselves and make it work for us. So what we have is we have the off-season regimen program, and I'm going to bring it up here right now. Okay, and here it is. Essentially, you start with 10 ORP points, so off-season regimen program points, and you can get points by simply doing what we ask you to do inside of the league itself. So basically, anytime you stream a game, actually spend the time to stream a game, we reward that because that is time you are spending in our league trying to show our league off. We give you an ORP point just for doing that. That's part of what you're supposed to do to be here anyway. So we're basically giving you free points just to stream games. The other thing you can get points for, a point for, is doing a Neon Sports article on the Neon Sports site for every article you do, which is a minimum of 4 sentences, which is not a lot. Honestly, it's 1 paragraph. Typically, maybe 2. But anyway, 4 sentences will get you an ORP point. Does not have to be, we do not ask you to be a world-class writer. We just ask you to put forth some effort and make your team more out there in the space. That's all we ask. We do not expect perfect spelling. We do not expect, we might even have broken English, honestly, at times. But at the very least, at the end of the day, if it's something we can read and be entertained by, that's what we're asking for. And that'll earn you an ORP point. You start with 10. You can earn more from off-season free agency as far as your 50% list is concerned. And I talked about that in another video, which I'll link here. And I'll also have this video linked in the 50% video. I talked about it in that video. I'll link it here. So there are lots of ways you can get ORP points right now. We will expand this as we get more users. This is the entry-level setup as far as how we're going to do things, starting out with the limited number of owners we have. And in that setup, you get those points, and what can you do with those points, you might ask, Mr. Winuvas? What can you do? Well, here's what you can do as I bring it up on screen. Each option here in this tier, there's 2 options. You see player skill focus training and player trait focus training. Either one of those options is worth 2 of your ORP points in total. So with player skill focus training, what you can do is you can increase one of the following attributes 1 point. And these are what we call non-premium attributes. Every one of them is in bold. You can look through all this list, and essentially all of these are what we consider non-premium attributes. So you won't see speed in there. You won't see acceleration in there. You won't see agility, strength. Those are considered premium attributes, and we have limits on those. And you cannot up them with off-season regimen points except in very rare cases. Okay? So you can basically spend 2 of your points and up any one of these attributes 1 single point. Okay? So if you're looking to focus on a particular player and he just hasn't been going up the way you want him to, you can use this to kind of gear him in the right direction and get him moving the way you want him to be going. player trait focus training, which is going to be really important for us because obviously with no play, our traits are going to make a huge difference in how we do things. So you can adjust any of these choices that you see below. So sense pressure, decision making, aggressive catching, rat catching, cover the ball, penalty, play ball. And you'll notice some of these have choices in mind. Bear in mind when you adjust, you can only move one rank left or right. Now, I'm going to show you right here to highlight this. You cannot go from one extreme to the other extreme in one jump. For example, if you are paranoid as a quarterback, you cannot go from paranoid to oblivious. These are on opposite sides of the track. Likewise, if you're oblivious, you cannot jump to paranoid, although I don't know why you would, but you can't. You have to go either up or down the string. So if you're oblivious and you want to make it to ideal, you have to go from oblivious to average, and then from average to ideal. And each one of those ranks counts as 2 points. So if you spent 4 points in total, you could take a player from paranoid to ideal, or from oblivious to ideal, or from trigger happy to average for 4 points, or average to trigger happy if you want to go that direction. Quarterback decision making, the same thing. You cannot go from conservative to aggressive. You have to go to ideal first and then aggressive. Or if you're wanting to be more conservative, you have to go from aggressive to ideal and then ideal to conservative. Anything that's just a yes-no flip is 2 points to get it from no to yes. Typically, that's what you're doing, is you're turning a no into a yes. Okay? But anything else, you have to go up the tiers, and each tier that you jump is 2 points spent. So be aware of that. Tier 2, each thing here is 5 points apiece. And this is where we get a little bit more heavy hitting, and we start seeing a lot more attributes for the points you spend going up. Advanced trait focus, for example. These are things like big hitter, strips ball, finesse and power moves, high motor, fight for extra yards. These are things that are a little bit more important, so therefore they cost a little more. And note that all of these are no yes flips, so you're basically turning a no into a yes for 5 points. So if you're looking to make an edge rusher, maybe he doesn't have power moves, or maybe he doesn't have high motor and you want him to have high motor, spend 5 of your offseason regimen points. Do that, and it's good as gold. I'll show you how to do the ORP filling out here shortly, and that'll be something we do at the end of the season. It's not something we're doing right now. It's something we will do in the off season, and it'll be announced well in advance in our GML announcements channel. So as we go on, now we have position coach work. Each position has a representation here, and it is specific to that position, excepting for O-line and D-line and linebackers. You can see we kind of lump them together a little bit, but essentially each one of these attributes will go up 1 point. So if you were to do all of these at tier 1, spending 2 points apiece, it would cost you 10 points. For 5 points, you can get all of these to go up 1 point, but it's an all or nothing. It is a combo meal with no substitutions. You cannot say, well, I don't want short accuracy. Can I get something else instead? No. It is all of it or none of it, and that is the way it works, and that's why we give it to you at 5 points, because essentially you are locked into these choices if you want to spend the 5 points to improve that particular position. And it is quarterback, halfback, fullback, wide receiver. Then you have tight end, and then you have O-line. You can focus on run or pass, and you'll see some of these, like for example O-line, I'll highlight it, have agility and strength. You'll notice there are stars by those particular ones, and anything we consider a premium attribute in this list, you will see a star by. I will note what that star means at the end of the document. So as we go through, you see we have O-line pass and run focus. So if you want to make your O-line your specific O-line player, and by the way, just to clarify, when I say O-line, I mean one player, not the entire O-line. It will specify, there is one off-season program that specifies the entire O-line. This is for one player. You cannot improve every player for 5 points. That would be ridiculous. Okay? One player can get these attribute upgrades, and that includes for D-line as well. As I bring back D-line, if you want one of your defensive linemen, whether it's a defensive end or defensive tackle, to have pass rush, they have to be a defensive end or a defensive tackle. That is key. We do have stuff for outside linebacker and middle linebackers if you want to up their pass rush, their coverage, or their run stuffing capabilities. and then you have cornerback, free safety, and strong safety. So your position coach list essentially allows you to work with a single player with their position coach to boost a certain set of attributes plus one each. Okay? So bear that in mind. That's a really good value if you want to kind of bump a player, especially if you want to bump a rookie, because this offseason program kicks in after the draft, which means you can use these points on rookies you just drafted to make them even better as you get into the new season. Okay? And then we go to Tier 3. Each of these costs 10 points a pop. So you got to know these are going to be good ones. Workout program, game +5, which I will state for the record, according to our attribute increase program, you can only increase stuff by 3. This allows you to do 5 and to things you can't up any other way. So if you want to up injury, toughness, or stamina, this is the only way that we allow you to up those attributes. So bear that in mind. It's 10 points. It's expensive, but you're getting a total of 10 attribute points added, which is normally illegal, to the attributes that you normally can't add to. Now I come to the rule of 92. The Rush to 92 program is what we call it, and you can increase one of the following attributes +2. Please note that there's a star by this one, and this is where I start to describe what that star means. This is why it's called the Rush to 92 program. The premium attributes that are listed on the Rush to 92 program are just that, premium attributes. Things like speed, acceleration, agility, strength. These are things that normally in a player's career you don't see them increase that much. Okay, now Madden can offer you some of these upgrades whenever you spend a skill point, and that's fine and dandy. But if you want to be able to increase it outside of Madden, and for us to do it, you can use this Rush to 92 program, and you can up any of these +2, but there's one big, huge caveat. One big rule that has to be followed, and that is the rule of 92. If an attribute increase of the premium attributes, so anything listed in that Rush to 92 program is considered premium. If you try to increase it and that would take it above 92, we stop it at 92. So if you have a player whose speed is 92 and you try to spend 10 points to up his speed more, you're going to have wasted 10 points because we're going to take those 10 points and we're not going to up it because it's already at 92. 92 is the cap that we will raise it. Now, if you get it to 92 and during the season you spend a skill point and it goes up to 93 or 94 or whatever, that is completely kosher. That is fine. We do not outlaw you going above 92 as long as Madden is giving you those rewards. But from our standpoint, for fairness and equality across the board, we only upgrade those premium attributes to 92. That is the absolute cap. So if you spend any points that might up one of those attributes, like in the off-season regimen program, I'm going to scroll back up real quick. Like if you spend, say right here, let's highlight this one real quick. If you do O-line run focus, and you're like, oh, goody, I get 5 attributes and one of them strength, awesome. If your player that you're trying to upgrade is already at 92 or higher strength, we will not upgrade that player's strength. We'll upgrade everything else, but not the strength. So bear that in mind, that as you spend those points, depending on what your player's premium attribute already is listed as, you may lose a point because we only up it to 92. Okay, so be aware of that for those programs that add premium attributes. So like O-line pass focus, O-line run focus, defensive line pass rush, defensive line run stuff. You'll notice all of these have little stars by them, and all of those simply mean if that player is at 92, they can't be upgraded beyond 92. Okay, so any of these attributes that are listed here, be aware they fall under that rule of 92. Okay, and then finally above and beyond, because our rules for upgrading attributes also state that every offseason you cannot up a single attribute more than 3 points by us doing it, by leadership going in and manually updating it. Okay, we only allow each attribute can go up 3 points, with premium attributes only able to go up 2 points. This particular offseason program allows you to jump one ability up 4 points, which normally would be illegal, but we allow you to do it with this off-season regimen program. That's why it costs so much, okay? Because it kind of breaks the rules a little bit. And then that should be it. That is it. That is it. 3 tiers. We're doing 3 tiers right now in this league. We will do a 4th tier eventually, but now I want to show you how you would apply for that ORP program. Once you know all your points, there's a form you'll actually have, and I'll show you right here. And this is what it looks like, and I'll show you team making the adjustment, Saints. What tier are you wishing to use? Now this says tier 4. Obviously tier 4 is not in play yet. So you will choose from tiers 1, 2, and 3. I will fix this after the video, so when you guys finally get a chance to look at this, you will not see tier 4. But you will choose tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3, and it's referencing these things right here. So this tier, when you see tier 1 on the form, it's referencing this right here. And I will show you tier 1. When you hit next, it will say you have the ability to increase certain attributes up 1 or certain traits one rank left or right. Which one are you selecting? Skill focused training, trait focused training. Let's say skill focused training. Next, what position is the player you're modifying? So you're going to state the position. You're going to state the player's name. I'll just put Kendra Miller since that's the first player I can think of at the halfback position. What skill would you like to up? And all of it's listed right there. So you'll look and you'll find the thing you want to up. Be very careful, because obviously if you make a mistake here, we're going to go by what you put in. So if you try to give, say, a halfback medium accuracy and you meant to give them trucking, we're going to put him at medium accuracy +1, and that's 2 points you just wasted. So be aware that this could come back to bite you if you're not careful. So be very careful when you're in this form out. Whenever you're done, you'll hit submit, and you can submit more forms as long as you have points available, and we will get that spreadsheet response form, and we will go through and we will make the adjustments at the end of the season during the off season and preseason. I'm going to go ahead and clear the form out because I'm going to show you again, just to kind of show you layer. We'll just go tier 2. And at tier 2, you're going to see all the stuff that's at tier 2. Advanced trait focus, position coach work. Gain weight and lose weight right now in the GML will not function for us, so we're not using it. This is a form from the WFL just to kind of show you what we're doing here. And then we'll show tier 3 real quick as I go back to the Saints. And I go back to that tier 3 and hit next. And you'll see the listing there. O-line film study workout program, rush to 92 and above and beyond. O-line film study is not in the game, not in GML right now, but it may be in the future. I'm thinking about making it more expensive in the GML, so I won't talk about it here. But it is a very good trade, especially for a no-play franchise. So, but those are your options, and that's how you'll go through and you'll fill out the forms and you'll submit after each one. So you could have multiple submissions, obviously. Was I showing that? Yes, I was. Okay. I minimized it and I got scared for a second. I was looking back at OBS, my recording software, and I saw myself and I'm like, oh, was I just talking over nothing? And I wasn't. But be aware that you ought to fill out that form at the end of the season. And essentially, ORP points are spend or lose. So at the end of the season, however many points you have a minimum of 10. You may have a bunch. You may have upwards of 20 or 30 points. If you don't spend them, you do not get to keep them. So if you get 30 or 40 points and you accumulate that many points and you forget to spend them or don't have time to spend them or just can't spend them all, whatever you don't use, you lose, and it resets as soon as we start week 1 of the new season. So be aware that put those forms in if you want to take advantage of that off-season regimen program, because it is a good program and it can help you further tweak with your team in ways that Madden just doesn't offer right now. So I hope that enlightens you to the off-season regimen program. I will do a video about the attribute upgrade program to kind of show you what our limits are, so that way you can have an idea of what your limitations are as far as upping players, because we do not allow you to up a player willy-nilly as much as you want to in a single offseason. We have limits for all of this to keep competitive balance in mind. So with that in mind, I'm going to end this video. I've been Winuvas, one of the leadership team here in GML, coach of the New Orleans Saints right now. And this has been a GML breakdown of the off-season regimen program. Hope you enjoyed it, and guys, have a good one.